Hi, I'm Tim Boss from ShareRing, and thanks for joining us on this training video. Today we're actually taking it back a little bit and going to go quite broad on this video. So instead of doing a specific subject of how to connect to, say, a hotel booking system or how to use the WordPress plugin, what we're going to be doing is actually looking at more in general how to use ShareRing Link. And what we'll cover today is how to create an endpoint in ShareRing Link, and then also how to create a query in ShareRing Link and how to display that query to your users and how to retrieve the data that's actually sent to your system. We have had a lot of requests for this type of video. I guess one of the things that we want to really reinforce as part of this is that part of the reason why we developed this whole system of ShareRing Link and the ShareRing Me and the ShareRing Pro apps, the whole ecosystem that we've created, is really about data privacy. So how do we protect the data of our end users, but also provide them with all of the services that they expect that our business can provide them with? So this is basically what this system does. So what we do is we allow you to only request the attributes that you need so that you can provide the best service to your users. All of the data is encrypted. We as a company do not store any data about your customers or our users on our servers at all. The data is passed through our servers, it never stops there, and it's sent to you in an encrypted fashion that you would then store on your end in an encrypted manner as well. So I do hope you enjoy this video. If you do have any questions, you can contact us on the support button within ShareRing Link just at the bottom right, or if you have the ShareRing apps, you can also tap the support button there, and we're happy to help you. If you need any help implementing this on your site, then please also reach out. We are more than happy to help. In fact, we've helped a number of clients already to implement this on their websites. So thanks very much, and I hope you enjoy. What I'll be doing is I'll start with how to use the free version of ShareRing Link, and then show some of the benefits for updating to the paid version of ShareRing Link, and also show you how to do the update. I'll also include a few bits of integration and some links to our other videos that show how to integrate. First things first is logging into ShareRing Link. At the moment, you'll need to download the ShareRing Me or ShareRing Pro app. That's quite simple. You can find it on the app stores or the Play Store. And once you've downloaded that and set up your own account in the app, all you need to do is scan this QR code. By the time this video comes out or shortly after, there'll also be another method for signing in for the first time just by using your email address. It'll create a one-time link for you, and then subsequent times after you've done the first login, you'll need to use the ShareRing app, either ShareRing Me or ShareRing Pro, to log in to that same app. So first thing I do is hit refresh to refresh the QR code, and I'm just scanning the QR code with my ShareRing Link, ShareRing Pro app, sorry. And on my app, you can't see my app screen at the moment, but it simply says login successful. Okay, first time you log in, you'll be presented with our privacy policy and terms and conditions. Have a read through those and click OK to proceed. If you do have any questions, need any help at all, we do have a support team that is always ready to stand by and help. Just click down the bottom right here and then enter your question, or there are some FAQs there as well that may actually be a little bit of help. These FAQs are being constantly updated, so check back on them to get more information. There is also another way to get some help. We do have some very detailed documentation that you can go to, and simply click on the help button here, and that will go into all of our documentation. So in ShareRing Link, and it's got some details about how to set it up, how to use advanced mode, and so on and so on. So I'll be covering a lot of what's in here during this training video. First thing you need to do generally is create a endpoint. Now, an endpoint is effectively a location where the data that is being scanned from your query actually goes to. And generally that would be either your website, a CRM tool, something like Salesforce, it could be WordPress, it could be Zapier to redirect it to another site, it could be your hotel property management system, it could be your bespoke system. There's not really any limit to the type of system. We also have resellers available that are developing their own systems where it will take data from ShareRing Link and send it to their systems so that they can process that information. So a few examples are some WordPress sites, but also uh, and another example would be the KYC site for some of the banking systems as well. So more about that later. So in this case, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be setting up an endpoint to go to webhook.site. Webhook.site is actually a really, really good tool just to use for testing to see the data that comes out of it. And here's a webhook.site endpoint that I've created earlier. All you need to do is log in, create a endpoint, and it's pretty self-explanatory. And then what you'll be done is you'll be given this unique URL. So click on that unique URL to copy it, and then go back to the ShareRing Link, add an endpoint, and I'll call that webhook training, and type is API endpoints. The other option you have is email. So what that will do in that case is actually send the results of your query to an email. And I'll paste that API endpoint and click add. If you set it as default, that basically means that every future query that you make will default to using that one unless you select another one. Now that I've done that, it's got some other info if I want to connect to Zapier. So that shows how I can connect it directly to a product such as Zapier, which has a link to about 7,000 other apps. So it's actually a very convenient and easy way to connect, sharing a link to other apps without any coding required. Next, I'll go into the query and create a query. So effectively, a query is any question that you want to ask your users. And that question might be things such as what is your name, what is your email address, so basic information to save them filling out forms, or it might be something custom. What is your shoe size? What is your favorite color? What country are you from? So any information you can basically ask somebody. And we do have something called verifiable credentials or verified credentials, and then also custom information. So the verified credentials are effectively information that has been independently verified by us through some mechanism. Or there's user added info, which is information that has not been verified and just added by the users. Or there's simply custom information, which may be custom questions that you ask. So I'll go through here and create a query. We do have two modes. One is basic, and the other one, if you upgrade, you get advanced. Advanced is more for people that want to do their own scripting. So they want to create their own effective JavaScript to really customize the way that the query looks to the end user, but also the way that the query is treated in terms of how the data is structured and where it's sent to. So in this case, let's just do a quick one that is maybe, oops, what is your email address? And the title can be the same thing. What's your email? And as you can see on the right-hand side, it's updating as I go along. So the title is what will be shown to the user when you share the information, when they share the information with you. So thanks for sharing your email is what we're going to show them. And the company name is your company name. So this actually gets locked in once you upgrade to the advanced because we do check that information. So in this case, I'm going to write sharing. Endpoint, that will be the endpoint that I chose before. So click that. I'm just going to minimize that. And I can add more here and it'll just take me to the endpoint menu. Scheme. So what this is used for is the QR code that's created for the query can also be scanned with a standard QR code reader on someone's phone. It can also be used as a deep link. So if you're presenting a website to somebody and they go to that on their mobile phone, instead of actually having to try to scan that QR code from their phone to their phone, what you can do is turn that into a link, and all they need to do is tap that link and that'll open the app automatically into the right spot to ask them that question. And what this scheme says is which app it's actually going to open. So it's open Sharing Pro, Sharing Me, or if you are running a white label version of our app, like some companies are, then you simply click custom and we will give you the scheme prefix and suffix. But in this case, I'm going to use the Sharing app colors. This is actually the color that is presented within the query. This is really helpful for real life transactions where somebody is maybe presenting to show that they're over 18. You can automate the process of creating a different color for each day or each hour or something like that. And it's just a way to do a secondary verification that that person's not showing you a screenshot or a video or something like that. Go next. And here's a little bit to sort of talk about updating the levels of verification. So if you go in here, you'll only be able to access generic values, anything that is verified, which is things like government ID, so data that comes from identities such as passport, driver's licenses, and so on. That actually requires the full paid account. The reason why is because the charging model for this is actually based on the amount of data that you consume. So, for example, if you want to take an attribute such as the verified name from a passport or something, verified date of birth, verified email address. Actually, email address is free. So, verified name, verified date of birth, verified passport number, verified photo of a passport, and so on. You'll pay for each one of these attributes, and the pricing is in the pricing model, which you can click either there or on our website. So I'll go to generic values, and you do get a lot of info from here. So if I want maybe name and, as I said before, email address. So they're the two bits of info. As you can see, it's user added, and what that basically means is we are not verifying that information. And that means it's really up to you to decide whether or not you trust that. And if you're using the advanced upgraded version, it is verified information. So you do trust the information that's being received. And if I want other information, so maybe some things like proof of address and things like that. But these are all, once again, user added. We don't do any verification against those. And then what you can also do is say, let's do another one, is what is your favorite color? And that's a custom value that I'm adding. As I mentioned before, custom values can be any question you want. Generally, try to keep it to questions that have a single word answer. In the future, we're going to be adding the ability to have yes or no questions as well. You can do that at the moment through the custom query with the yes or no, but we'll be adding it through the interface. Go next step, then you can just change the sort order, so the order that the information is presented to the users in, and then you can answer whether or not these are required attributes. So maybe you say, well, name and email address, we need that from you, but we don't have to have your personal or your favorite color, so maybe not. And then not stored or stored, that goes back to the sharing vault. So whether or not that information is stored permanently in that person's sharing vault, or they can delete it themselves even if it is stored permanently, or if it's something that you consider a point in time request. So, for example, a hotel might be a booking ID. So maybe you're asking them for their booking ID. And that's something obviously you don't need to store after it's used for check in or check out or something like that. So I'll untick that to make sure it is stored in there. And before sharing, this is the message that's shown to the users. So please confirm your details, something like that, and then create query, and that's it. So it's very, very simple. If you know what you're asking for, that can be done within 1 or 2 seconds. Now, all I need to do to test this is simply go Actions, click Open QR code or Open Query Code, and what this will do is it'll present a new QR code to you that you can actually use. Okay, this is the QR code that I'm being presented with. And all I need to do is basically scan that, and then what will happen is the data will basically show up in this webhook.site. So let's go back to the QR code, and you won't be able to see my app again, but I am scanning this QR code, and it's asking me 3 questions: my name, personal email address, and what is my favorite color. Let's just do blue. And I'm going to press send now, but before I do, I'll jump into webhook.site. So click send. I, as a user, will always need to use my biometrics before sending, and then that's sent there. So you can see that it's the information has been received. It's got my name, got an email address, it's got my favorite color, and then that is also presented as a sentence in the result. So generally that information, if you're using any other third-party system, that information can be consumed and used for something. If you're using webhook.site and you want to use it further to do other things, you can actually go in here to go custom actions, and then you can extract the data from here to automatically basically pull the data into there, so it gets all of the fields that you need. So it's actually really, really simple. So what I'm going to do is go request.content and then just test that information. And down here, it's got all these variables that it's defined. So it's actually got name has been defined as name, email address has been defined as email address, what's your favorite color has been defined as what's your favorite color. So all of that stuff is now basically done, and it's pulled it in. And then if you want to go even further, you can do things like create a let's say send an email or create a Google Sheet out of it, or add it to Excel, or add it to S3 or something like that. So that's a really, really easy way to integrate it. For a more graphical mechanism, you can also use something like Zapier. Zapier, once again, allows you to create a webhook. So you can just look at the video down here that shows separately how to do Zapier. And then another option is if you've got WordPress website, you can also use our new WordPress plugin to add it to that, which is also quite easy to do. Let's jump back into ShareRing Link. Actually, one other thing that I wanted to go through quickly is this QR code is what we call a static QR code. You can actually change it to be what's called a dynamic QR code, and there is some instructions back in the help that show how to use that dynamic QR code on your website. All the way down here, if you actually are a bit of a coder or have access to a coder, you can add this code to your website. And what that becomes is a session aware QR code. What that basically means is it supports multiple users, and then it can also allow for a response back to the user after they scan the QR code. So thank you for scanning or something like that. So this is what that might look like on a web page. So if you look at that QR code, I'm going to scan that with my app and then confirm the information. And what it will basically do is just show it's in the color that I showed before. So it's actually quite dark, but this is just for testing purposes. So you can see the data that's come through there. Very, very simple. So let's go back to the advanced mode. So what do you get out of advanced? Advanced, you do get the more advanced queries, and you also get the verifiable credentials, and you also get custom reports. So the reporting will show things like how much data has been sent, what data, how many customers, and information like that. So very, very handy for your reporting purposes. So if I go to pricing, it's very, very simple to upgrade. You can either do an annual pricing or a monthly pricing. Just simply click upgrade now. Down here is the pricing that you pay, and that's different types of transactions and the verification levels of those transactions. So we actually have something called ShareRing Verified. That means it's verified by us to almost 99% certainty. That might be something like a ID card with an NFC chip. It could be a passport with an NFC chip, like an e-passport. ShareRing Checked means that we've done OCR checks on it and some additional sort of biometric checks or photo ID checks. So it's got a lower level of verification, and there's a lower fee per attribute. So I simply click upgrade now, and that'll jump over to the payments, and then you just do payment 083011, and there we go. And I subscribe. I need an address. 1 Collins Street, Melbourne. Click subscribe. So this is actually just a test account. So that card number is something that's used for testing. So don't bother trying to use that for yourself. So I've subscribed, and it's going to ask for name and company name, test company, and my domain name. Is basically the domain name is a custom domain name that you can go to use ShareRing Link. So as an example, I might have sharing.sharinglink or something like that. And then I can add a company logo and then finish setup. Oh, I need this Tim testing, and then finish setup. Oh, test company 1 then. There we go. Once you've done that, it'll jump straight to the domain name that you've set up, and it'll log you in as an advanced user with all of the other functionality. Now, if I go into create a new query, and let's just sort of go to another one, email address, thanks. I need to do a new endpoint. So that might have been endpoint there. Add. Just jumping through this very quickly so that you can see the data that's shared. And here we go. So now I've got access to all of the advanced information and verifiable credentials. So if I do say checked or verified, maybe I want a verified country, passport number, issue date, photo, and expiry date, for example. Driver's license, maybe I want ShareRing checked photo, number, country, ID card, maybe I only accept NFC cards, and I go through and check the type of data there that I want. So that gives me access to a lot more data. The other thing I can do is I can jump into advanced mode, and advanced mode, what it'll do is just run through here again. Oops. What advanced mode will do is actually allow you to write, as I mentioned before, your own queries. Now, if you go to the help menu and you go into some link sample queries, here's a few examples of the type of queries that you might want to write. So a great example here is you can do things like zero knowledge queries. So are you over 18 as an example? So what it'll do is instead of sharing the full information about that user, it'll just share a yes or no that they're over 18. So it's a very easy way to check to see if someone's over 18 without needing to get all of that information from them. The other thing you can do is add users. So if I invite somebody, it'll invite them to my testing one. I can invite them as an admin or a user to view the QR codes or the queries, and I can input their email and send an invitation to be added as a user. And then they'll accept that. They'll log in or scan the QR code with their app, and that'll add them as a user. Someone can be active on multiple domains as well. So you could actually get maybe one of our resellers or a developer, add them as user so they can create queries on your behalf and so on. Reports, as I mentioned here, will allow you to download additional types of reports, and billing will basically give you an update of any sort of history, billing history and so on, and be able to download that information there. So that ends this training. There's a few other training videos that follow on very, very well from this. So one is the Zapier video. Another one is the upcoming WordPress demo video. Another one is the how to connect to, say, the hotel property management systems. And we will be making a lot of other videos to follow on from this. We'll make another one also that looks at some of the advanced queries and some of the things that you can do with that. And maybe another one to show you how to use some code to implement the system on a bespoke or custom website. So thanks very much for joining us, and I hope you enjoyed this training video.